Welcome to Inside the Locker Room. We got my new NFL power rankings, the top 8 teams in the NFL, and all the new changes that's been happening this past week. More Browns drama, of course. Baker Mayfield can never stay quiet. He's always got something to say. And one of the greatest NFL talents ever is currently playing, and I'm going to discuss that more. But let's start with Thursday Night Football. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to Cleveland to take on the Browns. And the Browns are a 3-point favorite, which is home field advantage. And the Browns are downward trending. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. The coach looks like he's on his way out. Baker Mayfield cannot keep quiet. He seems to want to talk about past games and everything else instead of focusing on the Steelers. Not sure if he just doesn't get it. And he points his finger at everybody else. He was just talking about the crowd being too loud. His home crowd, like when they were on offense. They're fans, and they're at a football game where they serve alcohol. I'm not sure what he expects, but this is getting out of hand. This is some of the craziest stuff. Like, I don't know what his problem is. He's completely lost focus on just the game. And then instead of looking himself in the mirror and saying, maybe I'm one of the main problems, he's been pointing the finger at everybody else. And he's one of the top turnovers in the NFL. He's got some of the most turnovers in the NFL. Like, I think it's time to take a step back and take a look at yourself. I'd say if you want the crowd to be quiet while you have the offense, you probably need to start winning more. For example, everybody remembers when Peyton Manning was with the Colts. When the Colts had the ball, that dome was dead silence. You could hear a pin drop. I don't think Baker Mayfield understands this. He's not there yet. And they had real expectations this year. Playoff expectations. Now, he's at 9 touchdowns and 12 picks on the season. It's a 75 pass rating. That's pretty bad. And he just can't seem to focus on what's ahead, and he's always focusing on what's behind. I know he's asked the questions or whatever the case may be why he's saying this, but you can brush it off and be like, do the Belichick. Everybody says, his example, we're on to Cincinnati. Well, we're on to Pittsburgh. How about you worry about Pittsburgh? And speaking of Pittsburgh, they've won the last 5 out of the 6 games. And they're hot. They're on fire. Right now, they would be in the playoffs. Now, this is a perfect example of why talent doesn't mean everything in the NFL. You lose Antonio Brown. You lose Le'Veon Bell. Big Ben is hurt. And they're finding a way to win. Now they made that mid-season trade to get Mika Fitzpatrick, and he's paying off pretty well for them. He's been playing awesome. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have it going on in the front office, and they've always had one of the most stable franchises, and that's why they always win. It's a very bad start to the season, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They also have probably the best offensive line in the NFL, which can hide many flaws, and especially at quarterback, which I don't think their quarterback is that guy. He's just filling in for now. On that note, I'm going to take the Steelers in this game. 38-21. I would like to pick a close game, but the Browns, man, just a disaster waiting to happen, and it's already happened. That's about all I can say. I mean, Pittsburgh's young, fast defense is going to terrorize Baker. And I know it's at Cleveland, but let's be real. Steelers fans travel. So he thinks his stadium was loud last week against the Bills. Just wait till the Steelers fans travel in there, and then he's going to be complaining and moaning about that, too. Okay, on to a little bit of NBA talk. So there's been a lot of loud noise surrounding Kawhi sitting out and his quote-unquote load management. So I guess what the NBA sent out was you can sit out but not due to load management. So if you're sitting out for quote-unquote load management, you got to use the rest as an excuse. Like, not as an excuse, but rest has to be the reason. I guess it's all about wording to them. They don't like the term load management. They would rather it be rest. And I think I don't know, this is a tough subject. I think you need a reason to sit out. Like, we're not even 15 games in, and well, people are sitting out 3 games already. It's like, I know you want to sit out. It's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But even, especially with joining a new team like Kawhi is, you'd think you'd want to get to the chemistry as quick as possible, and then maybe before the All-Star break, take a couple games off, and then second half of the season do your load management or whatever, and then right before the playoffs, depending on the seeding and how that is, which with the West that might be crazy, so that might not be a good idea, but I think you got to pick your spots a little better instead of at the very beginning of the season. But moving on to LeBron. So it seems like everything LeBron tries to do, he's the best at. For example, this year he's decided he's playing point guard. Not point forward, strictly point guard. And well, now he's the best point guard in the league. He's leading the league in assists, which I think that will keep up the whole season. I think he'll end up leading the league in assists. I think his points will be down a little bit, but I think that's the whole point, to elevate Anthony Davis and Kyle Kuzma to those 1 and 2 scoring roles, or 2 and 3, 1 and 3 scoring roles. I think the offense flows a lot better with LeBron running point. So far, his shooting percentages are a little down, but his defense is up. He's more engaged, and his defense intensity is up. Now, he's been playing a lot of minutes per game. We obviously know he's going to sit out about 12 to 15 games, maybe. I don't think he's not going to sit out as much as Kawhi. I guess apparently Kawhi needs it a lot. I don't know. He's not built like, well, nobody's built like LeBron, but Anthony Davis will probably sit out about the same. So I think playing strictly point will eventually wear on him. That's why it's key to get Rondo back so he can get his rest. I think LeBron playing 37 minutes a game is too much for him at this point. The Lakers need to find a way to get him around 33 to 34 minutes a game, playing 67, 68 games without, giving up seeding. You know what I'm saying? That seems like the ideal situation. And I know everybody always has this, the greatest of all time talks, and you can say who's the greatest at this, that. But in reality, there has never been a player like LeBron where he's just great at everything. Like Colin says, he's the Swiss Army knife of the NBA. He just does everything great. Passing, rebounding, running the offense. He can score when he wants. He's become a great shooter, top 5 3-point shooter in the last 3 years, which he kind of evolved with the league. Is probably why he's still in the top 3 in the league, as as ranking players would be him, Giannis, and Kawhi probably. So him evolving into this point guard role so quick, and the Lakers off to this fast start is really not surprising. For chemistry reasons, it's a little surprising because LeBron's teams have always started off a little slow, but him going into this quote unquote new role, even though he's always ran the offense, but he hasn't been strictly a point guard. He always has to be the leading scorer plus the guy that runs the offense. Now he's got Anthony Davis where the offense goes through, and Kyle Kuzma, which is another 20-point a night player. And the Lakers lost the other night to the Raptors, but it's a long season. It's gonna happen. But right now they're up double digits against Golden State at halftime, which Golden State right now is one of the worst teams in the NBA. How quickly things change with injuries and having completely full seasons to the finals 5 years in a row. Their roster's been completely depleted with injuries. And it just goes to show you how hard it is to go to the finals that many times and keep up that level of play, which LeBron has done. And Golden State went to the finals 5 years in a row, and Steph is down, Clay is down, obviously KD's in Brooklyn, he's down. I mean, they're all hurt. I mean, it takes a toll on your body. Right now they're the hottest team in the NBA, but it's very early. Still too early to tell anything in this season. So, be nice to pace yourself, but you can't slow down in the West. Because, you have that feeling you'll have the 4 through 9 seed. 4 through 9 teams will probably be within 3 games of each other. You could finish 9th and just out of the playoffs, but only be 3 games behind the team that finished 5th or 4th. That's just how crazy the West is, so... you'd think you can't take any nights off, but the Clippers are loaded, so that's, Kawhi can. Okay, we're going to shift into my new power rankings for the NFL. The top 8 teams after this crazy week. After a couple big teams going down. So, let's start at number 8. The Minnesota Vikings. They came off a good win against the Cowboys. They have the all-around just fantastic talent just everywhere. And everybody always says, they're getting held back by their quarterback, but Kirk Cousins the last few weeks has been playing outstanding. And they're a team that could make a run at the Super Bowl if Kirk Cousins gets his mental block from primetime games out of his head. So, Vikings, number 8. Number 7, I still have the Chiefs in there. They've been struggling lately. They have some problems. Obviously, every team has some problems, but they have some problems with the run game and stopping the run game. The defense has been stepping it up a little bit better lately. I still think they're one of the top teams in the NFL. They have one of the best quarterback talents, and the best coaches, so that'll always keep you in the action. Coming in at number 6, we got the New England Patriots. Not much to say. They came off a bye week. They got a little exposed against the Ravens. Their offense is below average. It's pretty weak. They don't have many weapons. Basically carried by the defense. I think that's about it. I mean, their secondary and their defense is insane. I think that's all I got for the Patriots. Number 5, the New Orleans Saints. Now they're down to number 5. They're still a fantastic team all around. Just everywhere, they're pretty good, and they got some great spots. This last week, I can't really explain it. There's always a couple games every week, every other week that's just like, what just happened? 26-9 to the Falcons. The Falcons have 2 wins on the season. You just can't really explain that at all. I mean, it's pretty crazy how some of that stuff happens. Coming in at number 4, the Green Bay Packers. They come off a 24-16 win over the Panthers to improve to 8-2. They're Their defense has been slacking a little bit lately, but I mean they have a tough schedule, and they've beaten some pretty good teams. They got a really good run game, and of course they have Aaron Rodgers. I think their offense is really gelling with their new coach. They have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs, obviously, and make it to the Super Bowl. Coming in at number 3, the San Francisco 49ers. Coming off their first loss of the season to the Seahawks. It's a fantastic game. They're still all around a great team. Good running game, great defense. Obviously, everybody's question is Jimmy G. He's good enough. He's not spectacular. He makes the plays when need to be, and he manages the game when he needs to. They're just, they're all around a pretty solid team. Great coach, good quarterback, great running game, great defense. Coming in at number 2, the team that beat the 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks. This team is really unexplainable. I mean, they made that midseason trade for Jadeveon Clowney. He caused chaos on Monday night against the 49ers. He was all over Jimmy G. But Russell Wilson, man, he is special. He's clearly the MVP, and he's the best player in the league right now. He's willing his team. He's insane. It's really hard to explain. You gotta watch this dude to really know. He's a special player. And number 1, the Ravens. Now, they have a pretty set identity. Great coach, a good quarterback. Their defense has been stepping it up after the trade for Marcus Peters, and Earl Thomas is getting into his position. He's fitting in there for pretty well. Their defense is coming together, and they're a run-first team. I think they're the number 1 offense in the league, and Lamar Jackson's insane. So I have them coming in at number 1 this week after kind of blowing out the Patriots and obviously blowing out the Bengals. The Bengals suck. But now on to what I briefly went over in the intro of one of the greatest NFL talents currently playing, like ever, but he's currently playing right now. Russell Wilson. Now, he's becoming the greatest talent we've seen in this league for a long time, and maybe ever by the time he's done. He's without a doubt the best QB in the league and the MVP this year, barring, injury. We don't want that though. He has 23 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions right now. 115 rating on the season. I mean, his career rating is 101.7, rounded up to 102. The dude is insane. He's mastered the quarterback position, and there's like no other way to put it. You can say Patrick Mahomes is the best, or whatever the case is, but it's not all about arm strength and the tightest spiral. Russell Wilson throws the best deep ball in the league, but mentally, he's all there. He's exactly what you want, a quarterback. Not only is he a first guy there, last one to leave type guy, which most great quarterbacks are, but he makes his team believe they're gonna win every week because he's there and he wills his team, and he's positive all the time. He throws an interception, he comes back on the sidelines, he's positive. We're gonna get him next time. Maybe that was my fault. We can do better. Just type of stuff like that just always keeps it positive. So, as a huge Chicago Bears fan my whole life, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bears. A little bit of frustration. Obviously, all the Chicago Bears fans are frustrated right now. We have an offense that, we can't move the ball. That's a simple way of putting it. We started moving the ball last week, but that was against the Lions, and I know the Lions aren't a pushover, but it's still the Lions. apparently there's, I don't know if it's actually sourced or if it's true, but there's a story out that the quarterback's coach, and when John Fox was the head coach in Chicago, neither of them wanted to draft Mitchell Trubisky. They wanted Deshaun Watson. I guess the upper management made them draft Mitchell Trubisky. You know what's even worse that we drafted him is that we traded up for him. Like, we traded up one pick for him. I mean, it's got to be the most ridiculous thing in a very long time. Like, Mitchell Trubisky and Deshaun Watson, um, we're in the same conference in college. Now, I know they had to have seen Deshaun Watson play Alabama twice. Because at that point, that was the only game on TV, and that was the national championship. So how you pass up on that, it's kind of alarming to me. It's really crazy. They clearly overthought the room. And, they're like, oh, if we hit on this, they're, oh, what a genius, move to get him over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. It's gone the complete opposite way. It's worse as you could get. They say, this is the worst or this is the best of the situation. Well, we've gotten the worst. He's regressed from last year. Last year he wasn't bad. He had 24 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Our offense actually, we actually could move the ball. That's why we were 12-4. With the combination of that defense being so good. Now the defense is still really good. We just haven't got the turnovers that we got last year. But, I mean, we're still holding teams to low scoring. I mean, I know the Saints put up 30-some points, but that was a crazy game. And I noticed in a lot of these games, our offense doesn't do anything for 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we start moving the ball. I'm not sure what clicks in their head. We did that against the Saints. We had 10 points in the fourth quarter or something, then we ended up scoring 26. Now, you might have been just garbage time points, and the Saints, really didn't, maybe not cared. That could be it. But we also scored quite a bit of points late against the Lions, too. The games we are winning are in the teens and by 1 or 2 points. We also have lost some games like that, too. I'm surprised we beat Minnesota 16-6. But at that time, we didn't know how, I wouldn't say bad the Bears are, but how mediocre, average at best right now. I know we're still technically in the playoff hunt, but we're 4-5. We finished with 4 losses all last season. Now, last week before we played the Lions, I thought we were going to lose. And then they, announced Matthew Stafford wasn't playing, so I kind of switched it around, for obvious reasons. We still barely won, which is crazy. But before the Lions game, I was saying we were probably going to go 7-9, 8-8 at the, at normal, and 9-7 at the very best. Which, let's see, we're 4-5 now. I mean, we could go 9-7. I don't see it happening. I see more 8-8. Which is a pretty big drop off from last year. At the beginning of the season, I did predict 9-7, just because our schedules are really tough, and it's still showing just a really tough schedule. We got a first place schedule. A first place schedule combined with your quarterback regressing like this is never good. Now I know it doesn't help that our defense is not getting the turnovers that they got last year, but it's hard to duplicate some stuff like that. It doesn't always happen that way. Our defense still played great. I think we're still a top 6, 7, maybe top 5 defense in the league, stat-wise. We're like probably top bottom three in offense. And I don't know the actual statistics on this, but I did hear when listening to the Herd Collins say Trubisky's like rated the 50th quarterback this year, which if that's correct, 50. There's only 32 teams, so he's the worst quarterback this year, which I don't see how that's possible. But well, just thinking of Baker and like Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones fumbles the ball so much. Dude's got like 8 fumbles or something like that. Hasn't played the whole season. But I don't know if that's true or not. I know he's not good, and I hate to say it because he seems like a good leader, good emotional leader, like a guy's guy. You know, everybody likes him, but it's time to move on. They didn't make a trade at the mid-season, so we need to go out and get somebody this offseason, so we don't have a first-round pick. Apparently, Cam Newton's interested in playing for the Bears. I don't know how I feel about that. He's obviously better than Trubisky, but he's always hurt. You really want to pay $20 million a year to a guy that's always hurt? I don't know, or 27, whatever it is. At this point, I would much rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Cam Newton. I know Teddy had he had that bad injury in Minnesota, but that was a long time ago. We would be a lot better with Teddy Bridgewater. We're 4-5 this year. I think if we had Teddy Bridgewater this year, we would probably have 3 more wins. 2 or 3 more wins probably. 6, 7 wins right now, which would be in the top of the NFC, which the NFC is stacked. NFC is the Western Conference. Western Conference is the NBA, NFC of the NFL. It's so deep, so many good teams, and all the good teams have good quarterbacks, which is the key positions, the hardest position in sports. It's the most key position to get right in sports, and the Bears can never seem to get it right. I know when we had Jay Cutler, he got on everybody's nerves. When we had Jay Cutler, we had a really good offense, though, which was kind of crazy because we were a good offense and our defense was bad. It's like that was what, a 4 or 5 year stretch. It was weird. We weren't a good team though. We had a lot of offensive weapons. Why our offense was good. We had 2 really good receivers, a really good running back, and a really good tight end. We don't need a really good elite offense. We don't, because our defense is elite. We just need a quarterback that's able to make the plays, that's able to run the offense and have trust in our coach to make all the throws. I'm really tired of seeing Mitchell Trubisky overthrow wide open receivers on 3rd down. It's the most frustrating thing, and most of our losses have been pretty close. I mean, we lost 10-3 to the Packers. We could only score 3 points. I mean, our defense only gave it 10 points to Aaron Rodgers, and I know it was the first game with his new coach and new offense, but it's still Aaron Rodgers, and he's still one of the greatest talents ever in the league. 3 points is all. We couldn't even score. We couldn't get 2 field goals and a touchdown. We could only manage a field goal. That's it's just getting worse. Now we got the Rams coming up this week. Apparently, all of the Rams' offensive line is just down, hurt. And the Rams are only 1 game better than the Bears, so I'll have to look at the line and see what the betting is. So it is in LA. So the Bears are away. It's Sunday night, and they have the Rams favored by 6.5 points. I will gladly take that any day. There's like 3 or 4 offensive linemen that are hurt for the Rams, and we all know what the Bears defense is. It's going to be a low-scoring game because these offenses right now aren't that good. I'm going to say it's going to be like 17-16, and I'm going to pick the Bears to win by 1 point, and they'll be a tied record, and we'll see where we can go from there. But as long as we have Trubisky at quarterback, we're not gonna make that step up. We're gonna be right on the edge of making the playoffs. And at 8-8 is not good enough in the NFC right now. The wild cards are looking like 2 out of the North and 2 out of the West. The 2 wild cards coming out of the North and the West, which would be Minnesota and either Seattle or San Francisco. Seattle has a good chance of overtaking that top seed, or winning that division, because man, Russell Wilson's just ridiculous. He's on fire. They're only 1 game behind San Francisco, and obviously they beat them. It's going to be an interesting season. The rest of this season, I don't have any Super Bowl picks yet, or nothing like that. We'll get to that more when the playoffs are settled, when the seeding is settled, and all that stuff. Because we're not even sure. Like New England, for example, I know they're 8-1, I think, but their schedule coming up is ridiculously hard. So we're gonna find out what they really are and how good they really are. So that'd be interesting. The AFC is just, I don't know. Like the Patriots, they're supposed to be the best team in the AFC, right? You never want to count them out, Belichick, Brady, but their offense is bad. It's not good. Kansas City, no run game, no run defense. The Texans, do we really trust the Texans? Of course, we trust Deshaun Watson, but will he get hurt? I know it's a question for everybody, but he's had the history. I know they've gotten him a left tackle and fixed the line a little bit, but J.J. Watt's out, and I don't really know if we trust the Texans. The Ravens, they seem like the most trustable team besides the Patriots. They have their identity. In the playoffs, you need a run game, because when the weather gets bad, because more likely you'll be traveling to New England unless they can overtake that number 1 seed. And if the teams got to travel with Baltimore, it's going to be a problem. They're going to be a problem. All right, that's all I got for tonight. Stay tuned later this week for some NFL picks with games, some college football picks, a little bit more NBA talk. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys later.